Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. So far, I've been your host, Zero Yeti, and let's get into it. The first animal of the week being the common raccoon, also called the washbar or simply the raccoon, is a medium-sized nocturnal and omnivorous mammal and the largest member of the Procyanid family. Originally endemic to North America, they have since been introduced into mainland Europe and the Caucasus mountain region as a source of fur and into Japan as released pets. They prefer to inhabit lowland, deciduous, and mixed forests, but can also be found in mountainous areas, marshes, prairies, and urban areas where they consume a wide variety of food, such as fruit, invertebrates, nuts, seeds, fish, amphibians, eggs, honey, fungi, hatchling birds and reptiles, grains, small rodents, carrion, shoots, tubers, and most famously garbage. Common raccoons are themselves preyed upon by eagles, owls, cougars, wolves, jaguars, lynxes, bobcats, alligators, coyotes, fishers, and bears. The size of an adult raccoon varies considerably with habitat, with individuals reaching anywhere from 24 to 55 inches in length and 10 to 62 pounds in weight. They sport a short and wide skull with an impressively large brain case compared with that of primates. They have a long, bushy ringed tail, a compact torso, and short legs with large, dexterous paws that they can use to manipulate and carry objects. Their fur can range from white to black and various shades of brown, gray or brown. The most characteristic physical feature of the raccoon is that of an area of black fur around the eyes, which is reminiscent of a bandit's mask and has thus enhanced the animal's reputation for being mischievous. Most of the year, common raccoons live in sex-segregated fission-fusion social groups, except during the kidding season, in which mothers will isolate themselves from other raccoons until their kits are big enough to defend themselves. After a 60 to 65-day pregnancy, a mother will typically give birth to between 2 and 5 kits, which are born blind and deaf. Said kits remain with their mother for 8 to 12 months, and under ideal conditions, a common raccoon may live upwards of 20 years. Next up is the Caribbean hermit crab, also known as the soldier crab, the West Atlantic crab, the tree hermit crab, or the purple pincher. It is a species of land crab native to the West Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea, with particularly abundant populations occurring on the Bahamas, Belize, Florida, Venezuela, the Virgin Islands, Cuba, Hispaniola, and Bermuda. Here they inhabit. Here they are primarily terrestrial species that inhabits rocky beaches, mangrove swamps, salt marshes, and coastal forests, where they primarily feed upon carrion and vegetation such as rotting wood, algae, leaves, and fruit. They are also known to consume the feces of other animals, such as iguanas and seabirds, as well as to occasionally hunt and eat other invertebrates such as worms, mollusks, and other arthropods. These hermit crabs are themselves preyed upon by various seabirds such as gulls and herons, as well as wild hogs, crocodilians, and even larger crabs. Reaching up to 4 inches in length, all mature Caribbean hermit crabs sport large red to purple claws and soft bodies, with specially adapted hook-shaped tails and strong legs to hang on to the inside of a shell, which they carry around on their back wherever they go, retreating completely into the shell when threatened. These hermit crabs do not produce their own shell, and instead utilize the old shells of other animals, particularly marine mollusks such as the West Indian top shell. When a hermit crab grows too big for its shell, it will search for a bigger one and crawl out quickly out of its small shell to a new one. The spawning season occurs around August, during which time the female goes down to the sea to release her fertilized eggs, which will hatch upon contact with seawater. The larval crabs emerge and drift with the sea currents, feeding upon plankton until they fully metamorphosize into their adult forms and then emerge from the ocean on a distant beach. Next up is Przewalski's wild horse, also known as Przewalski's horse, the Taki, the Mongolian wild horse, or the Dzungari horse. It is a rare and endangered species of horse originally native to the steppes of Eurasia. However, competition with livestock hunting and the capture of foals for zoological collections, military activities, and a changing climate drove the species to become extinct in the wild by 1969. For the next 30 years, the species only existed in captivity. Thankfully, though, starting in the 1990s, it has been reintroduced into the wild throughout parts of Mongolia, Ukraine, Belarus, China, Russia, Germany, France, Hungary, Kazakhstan, and the Czech Republic. Here they live in herds of between 5 and 15 members, consisting of a dominant stallion his mares and their foals, with young and elderly males forming loose bachelor herds. Their diet consists primarily of grasses, flowers, clover, fruit, and the occasional shrub or tree. Przewalski's horses are themselves occasionally preyed upon by both gray and Himalayan wolves, measuring around 4.5 feet tall at the shoulder, 7 feet in length, and 660 pounds in weight. The Przewalski's horse is noticeably smaller than many of its domesticated relatives, sporting shorter legs, a longer tail, thicker hooves, and overall bulkier frame. The coat is generally dun in color with pagar features varying from dark brown around the mane to pale brown on the flanks and yellowish white on the belly and the muzzle. Additionally, the legs of Przewalski's horse are often faintly striped. Mating typically occurs in the late spring or early summer, with mothers giving birth to a single calf after an 11 to 12-month-long pregnancy. Foals begin grazing within a few weeks but are not fully weaned until around 8 to 13 months of age. Under ideal conditions, a Przewalski's horse typically reaches sexual maturity around 2 years of age and may live upwards of 35 years. Next up is the bronze Corydoras, also known as the green Corydoras, the bronze catfish, the light spot Corydoras, or the wavy catfish, is a tropical freshwater fish in the armored catfish family Calliichthyidae and the genus Corydoras. An adaptable species, they can be found throughout both slow and fast-moving waters on the eastern side of the Andes, from Colombia and Trinidad to the Rio de la Plata basin. They do, however, show a preference for warm, quiet, shallow waters with soft, muddy bottoms where they travel in schools of 20 to 30 individuals in search of food, such as worms, crustaceans, insects, and vegetation. Females are slightly larger than males, at around 3 inches compared to males at around 2.5 inches in length. They sport a yellow or pink body with a white belly, a blue-green head and back, and a yellow or pink color fin on their fins. Additionally, albino individuals are remarkably common. As is common with most Corydoras, the dorsal, pectoral, and adipose fins have additional sharp barbs, which possess mild poison that can cause considerable irritation to would-be predators. In addition to utilizing their gills like any other fish, these catfish are known to survive low oxygen conditions by coming to the surface of the water and swallowing oxygen, which can then diffuse from their gut into their bloodstream. Reproduction occurs with the onset of the rainy season, during which time a female will mate with multiple males simultaneously through a rather unique method known as T-positioning, wherein the female will attach her mouth to the male's genital opening and drink his sperm. The sperm rapidly moves throughout her intestines and is discharged together with her eggs into a pouch formed by her pelvic fins. This allows the female to deposit 200 fully fertilized eggs at her leisure. These eggs hatch in about a week, and under ideal conditions, the bronze Corydoras may live upwards of 10 years. Next up is the lesser roadrunner, which is a large, long-legged member of the cuckoo family, Cuculidae, which, along with its larger relative, the greater roadrunner, makes up the genus Genionix. They are native to El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and Nicaragua, where they inhabit arid lowlands, agricultural fields, and the summits of stratovolcanoes, such as Conchuga, San Miguel, Santa Ana, and San Salvador. Here they are a diurnal species, which, although capable of limited flight, prefers to spend most of its time on the ground, running around up to 20 miles per hour in search of food in the form of seeds, fruit, amphibians, small reptiles, large insects, and carrion. They live alone or in mated pairs, with their calls being a series of soft cooing, with about 1 note per second, made up of 3 to 7 times in a descending scale. Reaching upwards of 18 inches in length and 7 ounces in weight, the lesser roadrunner resembles the greater roadrunner in appearance, but is smaller, with a less streaked throat and chest, brownish on the rump, and on the outer wings they have yellowish undersides. The lesser roadrunner also has a significantly shorter bill and sport a blue mask of skin around their eyes. Lesser roadrunners are monogamous and mate for life, with the breeding season occurring from April to August. During this time, they construct a nest in a tree, thornbush, prickly pear cactus at about 6 to 8 feet off the ground. Their nests are strong and compact, built in the shape of a cup with sturdy grass stems and twigs. It is here the mother will lay 2 to 4 white eggs. Both males and female roadrunners incubate and raise the chicks, which stay with their parents for about 1 to 2 weeks before setting off on their own. Under ideal conditions, a lesser roadrunner may live up to 8 years. Next up, we have the frilled lizard, also known commonly as the frilled neck lizard, the frilled dragon, or the frilled agama, is a species of lizard in the family Agamidae, and the only member of its genus, Chlamydosaurus. It is endemic to northern Australia and southern New Guinea, where they inhabit a wide range of biomes, including dry forests, rainforests, savannas, and even scrubland, acting primarily as arboreal predators of cicadas, beetles, termites, moths, butterflies, worms, spiders, ants, and the occasional mouse or smaller lizard. Frilled lizards are themselves preyed upon by eagles, owls, snakes, dingoes, quolls, and goannas. Reaching upwards of 2.5 feet in length and 2 pounds in weight, they are rather big for an agamid, with males being slightly larger than females. Coloration varies according to the environment, with lizards found in drier clay-filled areas being a collage of oranges, reds, and browns, and those in forests sporting a mix of browns, greens, and grays. Their back legs are considerably larger than their front legs, and they are capable of bipedal locomotion. By far the most distinct feature of these lizards is the large ruff of skin, which usually lies folded back against their head and neck. This is supported by long spines of cartilage, which are connected to the jaw bones. Excuse me. When the lizard is frightened, it spreads out its frill, displaying bright orange and red scales, during which time it also gapes its mouth, raises its body up, and sometimes holds its tail above its head, creating quite the display for which it uses to discourage both predators and rivals, as well as to attract potential mates. The breeding season occurs during the early wet season from September to October, during which time males aggressively compete with each other for both territory and females. After mating, a female will lay 1 to 2 clutches of 625 eggs sometime from November to February. The eggs hatch after about a 2 to 3 month incubation period. Under ideal conditions, a frilled lizard may live upwards of 20 years. And our extinct animal of the week is Sinoceratops, which is a genus of Centrosaurine dinosaur that lived throughout the Xinjiang Formation in what is today China during the late Cretaceous period, some 76 to 72 million years ago. The holotype specimen, consisting of a partial skull, including the brain case, was unearthed in the summer of 2008 within the city of Zhuxing by a geology team from the Peking University led by paleontologist Zhu Jing. The genus name Sinoceratops means Chinese horned face and is derived from the word Sino, referring to China, from the Latin Sina, and the Greek word charis, meaning horn, and ops, meaning face, with the specific name Zhuchi genus referring to the location of its discovery. Since 2008, 2 other specimens consisting of skulls and part of the neck and back vertebrae have been discovered. The unearthing of these specimens was a pivotal discovery, as it was the first ceratopsin known from Asia, with Sinoceratops and the much smaller Tyrannoceratops being the only ceratopsids known to have lived outside of North America. Reaching upwards of 19.5 feet in length, 6.5 feet tall at the hip, and over 2 tons in weight, Sinoceratops ranks amongst the largest known centrosaurians, and it can be distinguished by its short, hooked nasal horn and distinct lack of brow horns. It additionally sported a short neck and frill with a series of forward curving hornlets that gave the frill a crown-like appearance, and inside this row of hornlets there was a series of low knobs on the top of the skull, which are not seen in any other horned dinosaur. In life, Sinoceratops would have inhabited river deltas and floodplains, browsing on low to medium vegetation alongside turtles, crocodilians, crustaceans, various fish, and other dinosaurs such as the titanic hadrosaur Shantungosaurus, the smaller titanosaur Zhuxing titan, the leptoceratopsid Zhuxing ceratops, and the Asian tyrannosaur Zhuxing tyrannus. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals.